All right, guys. So I wanted to do this update on the Wallhack SP-004 because I think it's been one of the most confusing launches with a wide array of information coming from different reviewers in terms of their perception of the speed of the pad. And I think there needs to be a pretty good distinction between speed on a glass pad and control. When we talk about different skates, I've got Obsidian dots, core pad airs, the Wallhack skates. I've got default skates. I've got skates on skates on skates, the plastic skates. I've tried basically everything on the wide array of glass mouse pads, and I put a lot of testing on glass mouse pads since my original review of the Wallhack SP-004. When you're just simply doing a glide test, whether on core pad airs or Obsidians, etc., the mousepad does have quite a bit of speed, and when you're comparing it and evaluating it to other pads, to me, at least the pad that I have in front of me is basically very similar to other mousepads in my lineup. The one thing that I can say is that in actual gameplay use, the Wallhack SP-004 feels the best to me out of all of the glass pads in my lineup, including my own Polarity, the Glaze, as well as the pink and black Lotus pad, which are the main glass pads that I've kept to date. The Wallhack SP-004 feeling the smoothest, but also feeling my own best individual control with my mouse on the pad. And what I mean by that, particularly, is when you are whipping your mouse around. I don't know if anybody else does this on glass mouse pads, but with wrist activation, I don't get any wiggle at end range of motion. I even get wiggle on the Hayatayatsu from Artisan. So it's a very nice thing to have a glass mouse pad that will forever be and remain consistent while having that control at end range of motion. So if I'm tracking somebody in game, or if I'm flicking somebody, I'm coming to a complete and abrupt stop and I'm not wiggling, and that's with core pad errors, but I get the same experience with Obsidians, which feel ever so slightly faster, and the Wallhack skates, which feel the smoothest, but I get the same experience with that wiggle, coming to a complete and abrupt stop, not ever feeling like I'm over-aiming, under-aiming, etc. I just feel like my crosshair placement for my own individual performance is the best on all of the glass mouse pads on the Wallhack SP-004. For me, the fastest pad with all of the different skates has been the Polarity. And when I say fastest, I'm talking about individual control. It feels as though when I am whipping around, it's got a little bit more wiggle. It moves a little bit faster, particularly on static and initial friction. So for the pad that I have in front of me, I prefer the control that I'm getting with my own individual movements on the Wallhack pad. Again, on a speed test, whipping the mouse around and just performing a simple test, certainly the pads seem very close in speed. When we get to the Glaze, even on a speed test, seems somewhat similar to my Wallhack SP-004, but one thing that you'll notice in game is that the Glaze provides the most control. It feels the slowest on movements. With crosshair placement, it feels as though I'm under-aiming because the pad provides that additional control. And if you need that, you can certainly look at the Glaze. For me, I prefer to have a pad that's open for glass, where I'm getting my own individual control and just remaining very consistent, relying on myself to provide that control. But the Glaze, in additional testing, is clearly the one that provides, from the pad perspective, additional control if you need it. And I think one of the most criminally underrated glass mouse pads, the pink and black Lotus, this one actually has the most texture to it, and you kind of feel it on that glide, but it is also quite a fast pad. It's kind of an in-between of the Polarity and the Wallhack SP-004. I think for me, my performance probably second best on the pink and black Lotus. Again, I think it's one of the most criminally underrated pads, and if you like the aesthetic of it, you can certainly look at it. I think a big thing for glass mouse pads in your evaluation of what to buy needs to be that pricing. Yes, I performed the best on the Wallhack SP-004, but I think the margins are a little bit marginal, and I think that you can get similar performance, particularly when you remain consistent on something like the Lotus, the Polarity, the Glaze. You're going to pick up that level of control and consistency with muscle memory. Overall, though, again, my best performance clearly on the Wallhack SP-004. I think it feels the smoothest to me. I get the most individual control. For me, that means quite a bit. Just from a performance perspective, I feel faster with my movements in game in terms of crosshair placement, even just character movement, and also just the most control, not only on fast tracking, slow tracking, long range tracking, flicks, crosshair placement, etc. Everything just feeling better to me on the Wallhack SP-004, so it's my main glass mousepad moving into the future. I'm going to cut into some gameplay. You guys can see some of the differences between some of the glass mousepads. Again, I can play very well on all of them, but I am feeling the best on the Wallhack SP-004. Again, there could be some differences on the units that the reviewers received, but overall, what I have in front of me, again, I'm really enjoying this particular variation of speed, smoothness, and my own individual control. So guys, that is it for this video and this update. Again, this is the pad that I'm going to be pulling out if I'm going to be using a glass pad. There's a new pad from Glassworks coming that I'm very excited for. Definitely will test that in the future. It looks phenomenal. The Akari, great design, looks great. I hear great things about the glass pad so far. Again, right now in my collection, the one I'm pulling out and using for competitive play is the SP-004, but the differences are marginal. So stick within your budget. You don't have to spend as much on the Wallhack pad. There are a ton of good glass pads on the market, and I just can't sit here and say that this is leagues above and beyond those other pads. I can just say that for my own individual performance, I feel really good and the best right now on the SP-004. Again, the differences, though, are marginal. That's going to be it for this one, guys. I'll leave a link down for the SP-004 down below. It is an affiliate link. You guys can choose to use it or not. That's perfectly fine. All the support that you guys offer the channel is truly appreciated. That's going to be it for this one, though, guys. I will try to get that Glassworks pad, try to get that reviewed, compare it to this in the very near future. I hope it helped. If it did, please leave a sub to the channel. I'll see you guys in the next review. Peace.